Hey, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. What's up? Welcome back, Phil. Let's get started. Also, welcome back, Liz Dahan. I just welcoming your dad back.
Hi.
Um, cool, cool. Well, cool. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the second week of Saltbox. We're tasting, yep, this guy right here. I really like this label. Um, I think they're fishing for oysters. I think that's what's happening there, but or claiming, not sure. But either way, 2025 Attis Xion Rías Baixas Albariño is what we have today. Um, let's start with the map, as we always do. All right. So we were in um, Italy last week, right? We had Profondo, Profondo, where the Prosecco Hills, the unfiltered Prosecco called Profondo is what we had. Well, this week, and then the reason that wine was displaying, or at least we're perceiving it as kind of salty or savory, was because of the lees aging, right? Profondo being going through method as a straw, not filters, so all the lees having been there. Also texturally, you were talking about the acid, with the lees aging added on top of it. That's kind of what gave it that kind of salty salinity. Well, this week we're leaving the hills of Italy or Veneto, Prosecco Hills, and then we're going to Spain. We're going to Galicia. We talked a little bit about Galicia when we are talking about when we are doing the Castilla Leon box, right? Especially when we're talking about Bierzo, we talked a lot about how that kind of Atlantic influence of the Galicia meets the kind of an inland high plateau continental climate of the Castilla y Leon, and that's what Bierzo is. So what we're talking about today is truly Atlantic climate. So what is Atlantic climate? What we're talking about is so this whole patch going from here all the way to the Basque Country, this kind of northern and that butts up against the Atlantic Ocean. This is called green Spain. You might have heard that term, or if you're in the wine world, you definitely will hear that come out. So the reason being because there's you see this mountain range that kind of runs through here. This catches all the rain, fog, cool air, wind, everything that comes from the Atlantic Ocean catches it. So this is where it's like it rains quite a bit. So there's quite a bit of high elevated rainfall. It's humid, it's warm, it's hot, and all of that allows all this vegetation and fauna to grow. So unlike the rest of Spain, that is really kind of brown, honestly. The Spain is not exactly the most green. I think the inland, the middle of the Spain, and even going into Rioja, we're talking about very arid kind of a part. For most of Spain, it's very arid. But when you get into the green Spain, which is any going all the way from Basque all the way to Galicia. We'll talk about that green Spain because of that humidity, that rainfall that comes here. So it's much cooler. It's green. It's wet. It's windy. Seafood everywhere. It's basically what we're talking about here when we're talking about Galicia. But even within Galicia, where we are today is right here, Rías Baixas, because you're wondering how that's pronounced. Rías Baixas is how it's pronounced. They're kind of three separate kind of sub regions right here. And if you look more closely, this is kind of how it divides. So here's Bierzo, right? Castilla y León. And then anything to the west of that is this entire, and Portugal is down here. So this whole thing is Galicia, essentially. And this pink, as it says here, all pink shadings, this is Rias Baixas. But even within Rias Baixas, sorry, here, But even within Rías Baixas, we have a different subregions. And where we are today is right here, Val dos Salnes, which is the most western, it's the most Atlantic. I mean, it's literally right up against the coast. In fact, this particular producer's vineyards, I will see a picture of that soon, literally face up right up against the ocean. So all west facing, basically all that rain, all that ocean spray, all that sea breeze is coming in from the Atlantic Ocean and landing right here. So, and that's where we are today. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is actually their vineyard, because I took this straight from their website. So these are all Albarino vines, all trained in pergola. You kind of see it here. I don't know if you can, well, I have the next picture. But yeah, this is the Atlantic Ocean right here. So look at how close that is. I mean, imagine if it's, there's a wind blowing and it's foggy and all of that, how much actual salt will end up on the skins in the vineyards, as well as in the soil, just it being so close to being close to the coast. There's actually elevated level of salt in the soil as well. Don't ask me who this woman is. I have no idea who she is. I just found this picture to show you what pergola looks like. So this is what pergola looks like. So earlier in that picture, you see it right here. If you look a little bit closely, you can kind of see the outline. But like, first of all, look at how lush and how green it is. This is a very rare thing to see in Spain. Like you don't see this in most parts of Spain. It's very arid. It's a lot of it's kind of a desert. But here in Green Spain, it's different. So pergola is essentially these kind of granite columns. You train the vines to kind of rise up through almost like a tree and then let the fruits hang. And there's this kind of canopy that forms up on top. And the fruits hang below that is essentially what you have here. And you may be asking, and this is a very historical kind of thing, very traditional way of growing things here. And you may be wondering, why does that matter? Why do you grow it that way? So Albarino is grown using the pergola, or they call it para in here in Rías Baixas training system, probably to combat the region's high humidity. Like I mentioned, a lot of rain, a lot of humidity here. So heavy rainfall, and then all the humidity, just getting it off the ground. It gives a lot of this kind of wind space to come in and kind of dry out the leaves, dry out the fruit. So you're fighting essentially a lot of fungal diseases like mildew and rot and things like that. Additionally, the elevated canopy here maximizes the sun exposure. So going from the top in ripening. So this is much cooler, kind of maritime Atlantic influence here. Like that is not an issue with today's wine, but sometimes with the Albarino, it's not uncommon for you to find some greenness, some unripeness in the wine. Because again, it's kind of a cooler kind of maritime influence. So ripening could be a challenge, especially in cooler vintages. So by having it here lifted and then basically forming a full canopy up top, you're getting a lot more sun exposure, which helps with the ripening. And also here in a lot of in parts of Galicia, the vines or vineyards are very small, kind of a private mom and pop holdings. There's no like big commercial wineries that own, millions of hectares of vineyards. So having this, they actually run their lifestyle underneath the canopy to kind of graze and do all of that. So yeah, that's what you do. Again, I have no idea who this woman is, but this is actually the Attis, our producer, their vineyard. This is what it looks like. And then I just happened to find a picture. This is the only good picture of that I could find, but it has this woman. But anyways, all right, let's talk about who makes this wine. So these two brothers right here, this guy and that guy. So this is Robustiano. And the guy on the right is Baldomero, Farinha are their names. So here the Attis is the family, the winer's name. Attis is the family project of the Farinha family, led by these two brothers, Robustiano. and Baldomero Farinha in Val Salnés, which is the most Atlantic facing, kind of like a saltiest heartland of the Rías Baixas. Family actually had old Albarino vines for 3 generations, just kind of in their family home. They run a restaurant there, and then originally made wine for themselves and to kind of sell wine in their own restaurant for 3 generations. And then finally they decided in year 2000 to go actually get a proper label and get a winery and make their first commercial vintage with the help of this gentleman right here in the middle, whose name is Jean-Francois Habard. He's a French enologist, so they hired him to help them come basically teach them how to make wine in a commercial setting instead of just for their own family consumption. So over time, the project grew into one of the more distinctive kind of Albarino producers in the region. And their whole kind of they're tiny. I mean, I couldn't find the exact number of hectares, vineyards that they actually farm. But I know just in general, Rías Baixas, nobody owns more than 10 hectares. It's very, very small kind of holdings. But their whole philosophy is built around making wines with essentially a sense of place. So everything that tastes like where they come from, meaning in their case, they want wine to taste like Albarino, that tastes like granite, that tastes like sea air, and then Galicia in general is basically what we're talking about. The Xion that we have is their youngest, freshest Albarino. They do have an older bottling, but there just wasn't enough of it to put into the box. But I also actually really like this wine, especially for this style, like in summertime, really fresh. So yeah, this is their youngest, freshest bottling, really bright, just some lees aging for texture as well. So what is that everything? Yeah. So what is this wine? This is 100% Albarino, grown in the subzone of Val dos Salmes that you saw on the west coast of Rías Baixas, grown on granitic sand and clay mixture, which is interesting to think about. So here we're talking about vineyard. You saw how close it is to the actual ocean, right? And it is grown on a decomposed granite. Where else did I see that? So I don't know if you guys remember the pictures, and I'm using, so my computer got fucked up, so I'm using somebody else's computer, so I couldn't have access to a picture. Otherwise, I would pull it up. But remember when I went to Chile, and then I visited Leo Erazo of Los Viñateros Bravos at his home vineyard. He was telling me that he was experimenting. He just planted Albarino up in the hillside on the mountains facing the ocean. And I thought he was fucking crazy. I was like, what are you doing growing Albarino in Chile on the West Coast? But he said, there's something here that reminds me a lot of Rías Baixas, of the Galicia. And I was like, what are you talking about? But digging deeper on it, I mean, this is exactly what it is. I mean, it is essentially, he's not doing it in a pergola system, he's doing trellis. But you got the Atlantic Ocean. It's super cool. Like the rest of the Chile, that part where I was, it was very warm. Like Maule Valley was super hot. It was over 100 degrees when I was visiting. But where Leo was, because it's right up against the ocean, it's Pacific Ocean, not Atlantic Ocean. But because all that ocean breeze is coming in and is up on the hillside, it actually got chilly at night. And even during the day, if you're out of the sun, it gets quite chilly. So not only do you have the cool climate, you don't have the humidity that they have here in Rías Baixas, but you get all that ocean breeze and ocean spray that's coming in. And the soil type they also have in that part, especially in Leo's property, is a decomposed granite. And that's what Leo being the geologist that he was, it was like, this is why I think the Albarino is going to grow, because of Rías Baixas is a granite. So I don't know. I mean, he just planted it like 3 years ago. So he'll probably make his first vintage in about 2 years. So I told him that I would like to come back and taste it. So I'll report back if he ever makes it commercially. If not, I'll just go back and taste it. But anyways, it just reminded me of that trip, but just doing some digging into this thing. So Anyways, so 100% Albarino grown in the subzone of Valdo Salnes and Rías Baixas on granitic sand and clay mixture. Vine age is around 35 years, trained on that pergola system that I showed you. All hand harvested, sorted, destemmed, and then pressed off the skins right away. And then they do cold settling, meaning before the fermentation begins, they just put it in a tank, and then they keep it cold and just let it settle, just let it sit there. The reason, anytime you see that or cold settle, what the winemaker is trying to do is to retain all the kind of delicate aromas and flavors. If you smell this wine, there's a lot of these kind of pretty white flowers and peachy, stony kind of a fruit, very delicate things that are running through, even beyond all that ocean breeze and citrus. There's a lot of that kind of pretty thing going on. And then what he's trying to do is to retain all of that. So he lets it cold settle. And then he also is a spontaneous fermentation, but also in a temperature control, cool stainless steel. Again, anytime you see cool, longer and slower fermentation, all that tells you is that the winemaker is trying to hold on to the delicate aromas. And then everything's done in stainless steel. And then it's aged 4 months on lees in stainless steel with batonnage, which is just a fancy French word for stirring of the lees as the wine ages. There's no mallow on this wine. So talk about when we're talking about acid later, when we're tasting it, we can talk a little bit about kind of the shape of the acid. So like with the mallow, when the conversion from malic acid to lactic acid takes place, the lactic acid feels a little bit rounder, softer. Malic acid is much sharper and pointier. Talk about that. This wine does receive filtration and fining. So technically, I guess it's not a quote unquote natural wine because something has been taken away from the wine. But what I do appreciate about them is that they're very transparent about it. They put it on the tech sheet actually. And they even tell you what fining agent they use to fine the wine. And in this case, which is isinglass, which is the most used fining agent in the wine industry, which is essentially byproduct of fishing industry. It's basically dried up fish waters is basically what they use to fine this wine. I thought it was super cool that they actually go that transparent with their winemaking, which is super cool. I will get into the kind of a nerdy side of the salt thing after we taste it. So let's taste this first, and then let's talk a little bit more about why this tastes salty. Okay. Cool. Any questions about any of that before we get into tasting?
Yeah, under the trellis. Were they growing other crops or was that just grass?
It's just grass. It's just like whatever that grows there. Weed. Yeah. Oftentimes you don't find like vegetables or things growing there because it doesn't get enough sun because the canopy blocks out all the sun. So it's usually just like a wild grass that livestock can graze. And any other questions? So any of you who's vegan, I don't think anybody on the call right now is vegan. Technically, this one is not vegan because it's touched fish blood. I mean, it's a very, very trace amount, but technically speaking. Cool. Let's taste the wine. Who wants to take the appearance?
We'll take the appearance because we took your advice and made the Vietnamese crepes, and I got too much fish sauce, this delicious sauce. It's too much in my nose. I can't smell anything.
Did it work though?
So great.
Yeah.
As usual. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember making that when I was in Vietnam. We were going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a hunch. I was like, I think it's going to work. but perfect.
Totally, it did. Totally, it did.
All right,
Okay.
appearance.
So this wine is clear.
This wine is clear. I mean, we know that it's been fined, so yeah, it should be like translucent.
Yeah, yes. I'd say intensity is medium light.
Yeah,
Pale to medium, yeah.
like a medium minus. Yeah.
Medium minus.
I like it.
I don't have it. I'd say lemon before I'd get to gold, don't you think?
Yeah,
Yeah. So lemon is our consensus here.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this lemon as well. However, with Albarino, it's not uncommon for you to have a little bit like a speck of green.
Yeah.
With this one, I mean, also my lights are all super yellow here, so that may be it. Like if I saw this in a sunlight, maybe I'll think a little differently. Right now, I'll call this lemon myself, but again, in the future, if you ever get a Albarino, then you may see little green flag.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very cool region. It's not a super hot region. Any other observations?
Nope. I don't
Nope.
see any petulance. None.
Cool.
Yeah,
Perfect.
good. All
Let's
right.
pick the next person for the
Does
notes.
anybody want to do it? All right. How about you, Phil? You want to go? Oh, I can see how your training in Spain went.
Sure. I'll do it.
This, I just want to correct that. I guess it's in my.
This wine is clean.
This one is clean. This one is sound. Intensity.
Intensity is a medium to a medium plus.
See it.
And
I'm like over here, so
I mean, I've got it real close. I mean, an inch or so away.
yeah, I'm getting it here. So it's like 2 inches.
Two?
Plus, medium plus.
Yeah, medium plus.
Medium plus intense aromas. Ooh, what do you get?
Well, I get a floral smell.
Yeah, that touch of floral here for sure.
Yeah, it's like a like a honeysuckle, but not as sweet. I get a
Yeah, some sort of like a honeysuckle blossom, white flower. I don't know,
yeah,
something.
white flower.
Pretty, yeah. Any green fruit?
Oh, I would love to have you back.
Green fruit. I guess there's some apple.
Yeah.
Maybe green.
To me, this is again, nobody knows what quince smells like. Fresh quince smells like. Again, there'll be a quince in this thing. It's like an aromatic pear is essentially how I think about quince. Yeah, I get a little bit of quince. Citrus fruit?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I get a lemon and
Yeah.
almost a grapefruit, but it's not as strong as grapefruit.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned it. So what I get on this thing is a ton of lemon, but it's not even just a fleshy flesh and the skin, but it's actually like pithy, like that white part of lemon, which again, I think goes to that kind of like grapefruit. To me, grapefruit has that kind of a savory quality. Citrus fruit, and to me, like the pith part of the lemon has that similarness. So yeah, again, lemon, the pithy kind of a lemon. Yeah, absolutely. And Albarino as a general is a thick skin grape. It has a lot of phenolics running through, even though this was pressed off right away. It kind of, I think it's the phenolics that gives that kind of pithy, lemon pithy kind of a
Yeah, that's a good description of
yeah. Stone fruit?
snowstone. I don't, well, maybe some peach.
Yeah, I get a little peach. I get like a donut.
I get a little peach in there. It
Yeah,
smells
not like a yellow peach or nectarine, but like that white.
right, a nectarine
donut
type.
peach. Yeah. Thing. Yeah.
And then as far as tropical, I don't get any tropical fruit.
Yeah, I don't get much tropical here. So, well, I say I don't get much tropical, but I do get like a little bit of like a
I like country.
I get less of it right now, but I remember I came out to this wine and another Albarino before choosing which one I was gonna go with. The other Albarino had so much of this kind of peachy, I mean, stone fruit is a very common thing to smell in Albarino. I get some of it here as well, but that kind of white peach, that kind of stone fruit thing. But here with this one with Xion, I got a little bit of like a tropical, but not like mango or passion fruit or anything like that, but like star fruit, very like citrusy sour kind of a tropical fruit.
Uh-huh.
I got some of that here. But it's faint. It's not. I don't get it as much as I did earlier, and it may be just because I was tasting those things side by side, and one just stuck out so much more as like a less of stone fruit and a little bit more. But yeah,
Yeah, and I don't get anything else. I don't get any red, black, cooked fruit.
yeah, very fresh here.
Yeah,
Nothing
very fresh.
overripe. If anything, maybe touch underripe, but yeah.
And I don't get any herbaceousness at all.
Yeah, I don't get any herbaceous and herbal. It's more of like a fruit quality is like, if anything, it is like just maybe touch underripe. Maybe it's like just the coming into the season kind of a fruit quality.
Yeah.
Any spice, minerality?
No, mineral, I can get a whetstone from this.
Yeah. I get wet stone. I get minerality here. I get rock.
Yeah, I get a whetstone smell.
Yep. Cool. Any
Yeah.
secondary? Any tertiary?
Secondary, no, there wouldn't be any secondary here. And then I don't get any tertiary at
Yep.
all.
Exactly. Very fresh, very
Very
primary,
fresh.
youthful. It's all right up there. Excellent. Good job. You get to pick the next person for the palette.
All right, below me is Sam and Annie. You want to go?
Sure. I would say this is dry. It is, I would say medium plus acidity. Pretty yeah, pretty high.
It's like borderline high. I mean, it is
yeah,
so much acid.
yeah.
But I don't know if you guys saw it's just me click across the screen just right now. Like my mouth is water.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I almost want to call this high. Like the acid is real in this thing.
Yeah. No tannin, alcohol, I would say like medium. I haven't looked at the percent on this. What is it?
What do you think it would be?
Well,
Guess the percentage.
I just looked. I was gonna guess like 12 and a half. It's 13.
Oh.
But in all honesty, I was gonna go lower than that. So
Yeah.
I
would guess 12.5. That's kind of like where I was, but yeah.
yeah.
So 13 in medium.
Yeah.
Body?
I would say like medium body.
Agreed. There's a little bit of weight. It's nothing. It's not nothing. I
Yeah.
thought it was about medium, like 2% milk. Mousse we don't have to talk about.
Yeah.
Flavor intensity?
I would say medium plus.
Yeah, it's expressive. Dude, that's the thing about Albarino. Albarino in general is very expressive kind of a fruit, a lot of aromatic. And the fact that the winemaker took the time and care to kind of retain all those aromas by cold settling and cold fermentation and all of that is what gets this intensity to be this high. So medium plus, I would agree.
Yeah. I really, with the flavor characteristics, honestly, on the palate, agree with pretty much everything that Phil called out. You know, lots of floral, lots of stone fruit. I'm definitely getting some minerality here. I think this is interesting because for me, I feel like a lot of the other salty wines we've had have tasted like very briny to me, but I'm getting that here. I really like this wine. It just feels like there's some minerality there. Like definitely that like whetstone, but for me it's not tasting like briny like a lot of the other ones.
Interesting. And this is the one that's actually closest to the ocean. If anything, this one actually have the brine.
But it doesn't taste like, I'm not getting that like pickle juice sensation. I'm not getting that seawater sensation. For me, it's just more that like whetstone minerality that I really enjoy in a wine.
Yeah,
So
got it.
I don't know, but
Okay.
that's me. But I don't know that I would really add anything.
Yeah, I do get a little more tropical on the palate, but it's not like a super ripe tropical. If
Yeah.
anything, salted pineapple again. That like
Yeah, I could
star
see.
fruit is kind of like the
Yeah.
direction. Finally, the length.
I would say medium plus.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
flavor keeps going.
Yeah.
Immediately, well, we'll talk about this. Well, we'll talk about it right now. First and foremost, do you guys agree that this wine tastes salty? Right?
Yes, but like not in the same way as the other ones.
Yeah, okay. No, that's totally fine. Do you get the salt first and then fruit and everything else comes after? Or is it the fruit first and then salt kind of lingers after? Like, when does the salt come in for you guys?
I think for me, I like tasted a bit at the front, but I think I taste it more as time goes on. Like, that's part of what lingers more for me. But I do taste it like a bit with the fruit at the beginning too, though. But I would say that it's lingering a bit more for me. I don't know if other people agree.
Yeah, it's like, if I have to give an analogy, like, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but like, if you were to put, I mean, such a chefy move, pretentious chefy move, but like putting salt on fruit, like if you got a piece of watermelon, sprinkle like flaky salt on top, anything, and then you eat it, or even steak, right? Like maybe steak is a better example instead of fruit. Steak, and then sprinkle salt on top and eat it. That saltiness there is very aggressive. It comes right at you. You taste it right on your tongue, right?
Yeah.
Interacts with your the taste buds right away. As opposed to if you salt the steak and let it sit for like 24 hours, or if you like marinate it and then grill it and then you eat it, even if it's the same amount of salt that goes into it, the salt that comes at you is very different because it is much more ingrained. It's not as aggressive. So I'm curious how you guys experience that, because to me, with Albarino, it's almost like sprinkle of the salt. It's like it's very aggressive kind of salt versus the all other, like even last week's one, right? Like that Colfondo. To me, the saltiness comes at the end. It's like you taste all the other kind of the peachy kind of aromatics, and then the salt kind of comes in and lingers. But to me, with the Albarinos, and it may be power of suggestion, just knowing that it's next to the ocean. But to me, the salt profile is a little different because it is so aggressively upfront. It's like it's like almost like if somebody took all these fruit that we talked about, flower, fruit, star fruit, peach, and all of that, and like sprayed like ocean water on it and I ate it. Like that's what it feels to me. But anyways, finish, I agree. In general, usually salt is something that I'll be like watching out for and looking for at the end. But with this thing, I get it right up. But nonetheless, flavors, I would totally agree that it's a medium plus. All right, take it home for us, Sam. How good is this wine? And
It's a very good wine. I think that it is definitely very drinkable now. You could maybe age it for a couple of years. But I think it's very drinkable right now.
Yeah, so balanced intensity, we call it medium plus, length, we call it medium plus, solidly medium plus, and the complexity, yeah, we didn't have secondary, tertiary, but we have a bunch of things like flower, citrus, stone fruit, maybe touch of a tropical fruit, minerality, salt. I mean, all kinds of things. So at least medium, maybe higher than medium. So, you know, you take average all of that, definitely ending up a medium plus. I'm going to call this very good as well. Agree with that call. Now, potential for aging. I don't think this wine is going to go anywhere soon, given that high acidity it has, that backbone, so rigid, right? And it's got a lot of these different flavors. So I do think it's interesting to see how this wine will change.
Yeah.
But to me, what makes this wine delicious and appealing is its freshness. It's like all the fresh fruit and all of that. It's not necessarily, if you lost some of it and you got non-fruit things, I don't know if this would necessarily be as delicious. It's
Yeah.
just the profile of this wine that it is. So yes, I don't think this is gonna fall apart anytime soon. 2 to 3 years, maybe even 5 years, fine. But it's not wine that's like meant to lay down and sell it for a long time, to just see
100%.
how it develops. Because to me, this is about immediate kind of joy of drinking.
Mhm.
Cool, cool. Excellent. Any questions? No questions? If I were to ask you, compared to last week's one, besides that, like, when do you feel the salt? Is it upfront, later? But like, does the salt profile, the salinity profile in those two wines, does it taste different to you guys? I mean, Sam, you were saying it was like one was more like briny, like pickle juice, and this is like actual salt, like minerality, more of like a more integrated. Also, I just poured myself a new glass. There's a little bit of dissolved CO2 here. It's a touch of like a spritz, touch of a crunchy, so high acid, all that makes it crunchy. Cool. Well, before we get into all the pricing and all of that, I just wanted to give you guys kind of the nerdy side of all of this. So, is this literally salty? Meaning, is there actually sodium chloride coming in from the ocean? Is that actual ocean spray that's ending up in the vineyards of Rías Baixas, and that's what's causing it to be salty? Or is it, salt in the soil? Maybe brackish water that runs through, groundwater has some salt in it, and somehow traveling through the vine's roots and then ending up in the wine. So what is it? So that's the kind of like the rabbit hole that I was going down, when I was thinking about salinity. And frustratingly enough, it's both yes and no. So there really is Atlantic salt falling on the vineyards from what I could gather on coastal Galicia. Science kind of measured it. The scientists have gone out and measured different amount of salt in the proximity from the coast to the inland. And there's more salt actually present on the leaves and the grape skins in the vineyard that are closer to coast than it is the more inland. So science definitely has that though. Science also knows that vineyard salt can make its way into the wine, whether it be maybe the skin, even though this is pressed right off the skin, right? There's no skin contact. But if there's actual salt present in the vineyard, there's a way sometimes it makes it into the wine. But what hasn't been demonstrated, what I struggle to find, is that kind of famous salty kind of the brand telltale sign of Rías Baixas Albariño saltiness is that literally the ocean salt, right? That's the question. And that connection is still very much like a attractive hypothesis rather than it is a settled science, which is really frustrating because all this time, everybody thinks that this happens because, it's near the ocean. But there's no actual scientific study that shows that it is an actual salt from the ocean that lands on the vines that is actually ends up coming into the wine. That last link, they can show that there's a salt from the ocean. There's more salt in the vineyard that's closer to the ocean. But from that, does that actually end up in the wine? There's actually no research that's really been shown, which is really frustrating. So there were like 4 studies that I was kind of looking at. One was Atlantic spray puts sodium chloride into the Rías Baixas environment, very strong evidence. That actually shown. And also, I'm just going to put this in the chat box for those of you who are interested in going down this rabbit hole. I'll put all of this in the chat box. It gets real nerdy, but what was the chat? So those are the different kind of studies that kind of show it. The claim 2 was a coastal vineyards can produce wine with elevated sodium and chloride. Strong general evidence also shows that. Explicitly recognize this phenomenon. Experimental wine research demonstrates vineyard salinity can carry through grapes into finished wine. Great. Rías Baixas Albariño contains more sodium chloride than inland Spanish white wines because of Atlantic spray. Is plausible, but I haven't found convincing direct evidence. So there's research, that's the claim 3. The Galician wine composition studies demonstrate regional differences, but they don't establish marine sodium chloride as a causal variable. So all the wines, they essentially took Rías Baixas wines, and then they took all the inland wines from Spain, and then try to see if they could actually do a chemical composition test on all of them to see if actually Rías Baixas Albariño had an elevated sodium chloride level than the inland ones, because that would make sense, right, if you're in the coastline. But that study could not verify this. They could distinguish the two wines as having two completely different chemical profiles, but sodium chloride was not one of the factors that went into Rías Baixas that distinguished Rías Baixas Albariño. So how is it that you end up with elevated sodium chloride level in the vineyards of Galicia, Rías Baixas vineyards, yet the wines over there don't have sodium chloride as the distinguishing level of minerals in there? So it's plausible, but not convincing yet. The salty flavor we perceive in Albarino is literally that outlining sodium chloride is the fourth claim. Is definitely not proven. So there's a study there that put it in claim 4. Even if Rías Baixas wine contains somewhat elevated sodium and chloride, its famous saline character could be amplified or created by high acidity, low residual sugar, succinic acid, phenolics, least compounds, and other sensory interactions. Actual sodium chloride could be one voice in the choir rather than the entire chorus. The sensory research established that real sodium chloride can matter, but it does not establish that it is what we're tasting in Albarino. So all that is to say is that there's some sort of link that shows that wines that are grown on the coastal vineyards does show more salinity, but there's no distinct, clear scientific evidence that it is actually the ocean spray it's causing. Which is hard. But clearly something that is grown near the coast all have this kind of saline quality. So for our purposes, or given the limited research that we have, this is another way that you can end up with salinity in wine, which is that it can grow on the coast. So last week was lees aging, this week was this, but I don't think it's just the coastal part, is what I'm trying to get at, which is it's kind of a common thread from last week is both the wines that have, or for wines to have this kind of salty saline quality. One, it has a lot to do with the acid. Both wines last week and this week have the screaming acid. And that acid really kind of exaggerates the savory, salty kind of a perception of the wine. Not only that, with this week's wine, it also has a little bit of lees aging. It's 6 months of a batonnage that goes into it. And then on top of that, a little bit of ocean, whatever is happening on the ocean front is what's happening. So yeah, again, the science doesn't really show, but for our purposes, I would say lees aging plus coastal proximity is essentially what's causing this wine to have salinity in it.
Yeah, could it be that there's low residual sugar? We taste that would make the wine sweeter. We wouldn't taste the salt then?
Absolutely. So there's another kind of a correlation, and we'll talk a little bit more about this probably on the 4th week, which is when wine, the salinity has kind of, they have a opposite interaction between the inverse proportion, kind of a inverse relationship between salt and sugar. So as the salt goes up, it tamps down the residual sugar. As the residual sugar goes up, it tamps down the salt. It kind of has an opposite reaction. But what I found interesting is that And if you cook, if you're an avid cook, chefs talk about this a lot, which is, and bakers talk about this a lot, actually, if you bake. Like the reason why you add salt to cookies and cakes and things is not necessarily to make it salty. It is actually to bump up the rest of flavor, to like lock it open, and even like to have the sweetness expresses better. And it is a similar thing, I believe, in wine. It's not necessarily that the wines themselves are like actually super salty, as we saw last week. It's just that it's our perception, because either the fruit is tamped down, high acid, which makes wine appear more savory than it actually is, and all of that kind of interplay with the high acid, the minerality, and the texture, all of that kind of plays into it. So, yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, more and more I research this and more deeper and deeper into rabbit hole I go, more questions I have. Like it's harder for me to find definitive answer to give you, and like this is what causes wine to be salty. Like I can't sit here and say, if you age your wines on lees, it's gonna be salty. It's not always like that, right? Or I can't always say, if you grow your wines on the coast, it's always gonna be salty. It's always not like that either. There's always other factors that are playing around. There's clearly this huge, more and more what's popping up, there's this huge relationship between salinity and acid. Those are two, from what I'm seeing, is that it's a repeating theme. But a lot of other things that are also playing into it as well. Anyways, hopefully, I don't know, at the least that gives you, that kind of hooks a little bit of your curiosity if you guys want to go deeper into it as well. But I don't know. All right. I don't expect you guys to actually check out those links, because those are real dry, real nerdy research papers. But be my guest. Do your thing.
Hey,
all right.
Can you email the links? Because I can't.
Yeah. I'll email everything out.
I can't do this now on the iPad.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send it out.
Thanks.
Of course, the resident chemistry major over here is very excited at looking at chemistry research papers. So, all right, let's play everybody's favorite game. Well, first of all, did you guys like this one? Did everybody like this one? Yeah. I mean, I think Albarino is kind of like a crowd pleaser. Albarino can also go a very different route. So this one is this is not even the most modern one. So there's like, to me, there's an old school Albarino and there's like a modern Albarino. Old school Albarino is like super savory, salty, citrus, oyster shells. There's not a whole lot of fruit on it. And then there's a modern style, which is like peach flower, like so expressive and so aromatic. And to me, this is kind of like halfway in between. It's got that kind of salty, minerally kind of a thing, but you also get a layer of that aromatics, flowers, and the pretty things, but it's not over the top. So it's not that one is better than the other. It's just really depends on your preference. But I thought this one is particularly really nice because kind of you get best of the both worlds without going over the top. Also, Charles, one of those 4 bottles I sent you this month is actually that old school Albarino, the Cerea. So if you want to like do a horizontal comparative tasting between two,
which one was it?
Cerea. It's got like the mermaid looking thing in the front, like kind of.
Did it have a wax cap?
I don't remember. I don't think it had a wax cap. I think it had a silver cap. I think, if I remember correctly.
You should invoice me for those wines.
Yes, I should also do.
Because I don't know what they are. Because I always have the record on PayPal.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
All right.
I opened Soraya by mistake, so I drank that before the wine club started.
So yeah, if you had a bottle of Soraya, yeah,
I did. And there is a different type.
Yeah, super salty, super savory. Yeah, a lot more lees aging on that one. Cool. How much do you guys think this wine is on a retail shelf? how much would you be happy paying for this on a retail shelf? $28.50. $26.30. It's so good. Anyone else? 28. Damn, you guys are good. This wine would be exactly $28 on the retail shelf. So, yeah. I don't know. I think it's a solid bottle for $28. So it drinks exactly like what $28 Albarino. So. Cool. Any questions?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the wine world, Albarino is viewed in sort of a similar light as like Pinot Grigio. Like, you know, people are like, yeah, there's Albarino is like mostly low class, like low quality wine. And maybe that's right by volume. But like, why hasn't Albarino delivered like the reputation of, I mean, like honestly, it's a medium bodied wine with a slightly different fruit profile from Chardonnay. You can make outstanding wines with it. Like, you know, is it just that it's Spanish and people aren't doing the same with, you know, what's the reason why people aren't like, oh man, I've got this, you know, $60 bottle of Albarino.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also hard to find $60 bottle of Albarino.
Right. But I mean, honestly, compared to a $60 bottle of white Burgundy, I'd probably prefer to drink this a lot of the time.
That's different applications. I would say two things. One, going back to the kind of like old school Albarino versus modern style, there are some like beautifully aged old school Albarinos. I'm not saying that the modern style cannot age. I just have not really seen it because I think it just got too popular and it just got abused. So people went there like, because it's like such a crowd pleasing kind of wine, right? It's got acid, so it makes it refreshing and lively and crisp and dry, and it's got all these fruits and flowers, so like it's pretty. So you don't necessarily need a whole lot of food. You can just kind of drink it on its own. It's delicious. And as an industry, I think it went to that too far and just made a shit ton of that style of Albarino that's cheap and just meant to be drunk right now and put it in a stainless steel tank and pump it out as quickly as you can, you know. But are there examples of Albarino that I even seen Albarino that's done in a neutral barrels, not just in a tank, with a ton of lees aging, build all the texture into it, build all the savory aging into it. Absolutely. But those things are kind of like too old school because like what market has gone, it's like everybody's making the wine to satiate the market as opposed to old school style of what they used to do. It would be it's kind of my guess.
Can you put any like Case Club dope gems like?
I'm trying to find some. Yeah, I know these guys make some older vine Albarinos. We should still have some available. So yeah, I'll see for what I can find for sure.
Yeah, try to put the most expensive Albarino that you can find for like $40.
yeah, exactly. This one is so good.
Spanish wine shouldn't cost $40.
I mean, there are some Spanish wines that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You can buy Spanish wine, you know, it should be affordable still.
But in general, I would say it's one of the best value proposition wines for sure, as a country, as a general. I think for quality, for bang for your buck, absolutely, it's amazing. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Everybody's had Albarino, by the way, right? I'm not assuming that. Okay, Albarino is pretty popular wine now, right?
Does your image look black?
No, I think that was your point.
it was Charles's point is that like Albarino sort of has like a bad rap. I don't know if it's in wine club or wine company or whoever, but it's just like it's the white wine that's the most appeasing. So you know, if I go out, I would never pick it
Yeah.
unless it was from Rías Baixas, which is why I was just saying to Kayla, like I don't like Albarino on its like from Portugal. Like that's
Yeah.
I don't just drink Albarinos. I'll drink a Albarino from Rías Baixas. And I remember learning it with you, and then going to I think the now defunct Basque restaurant that was over on Massachusetts Avenue, and like having it with grilled fish, and like my whole table was like blown away at
Yeah.
how amazing that wine was with that fish. Like the pairing is just so great.
Oh, yeah.
So
Absolutely.
unexpected.
Perfect seafood wine, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect seafood wine.
Also to add to Charles's question earlier, this just came to my mind. I think this could also explain how Albarino caught on, really, out of all the Spanish whites and other things. It's because it is so distinctively different from all the other Spanish whites. You know what I mean? Like Spanish whites are either if you're talking about Rioja, you know, old Rioja Blanco, you know, like Viura, just like old, is fat, round, you know, like, and then all of a sudden you get this thing that is searing acid, really sharp, crisp, and pretty. You know, it is very, very different kind of a profile than the rest of Spain. And a lot of it is because it's in Galicia. It's because it's in green Spain. It's made in green Spain as opposed to much more arid, hotter inland. Same reason, part of the reason why like we didn't have a bottle last week, but the Rueda Verdejo was starting to become really popular. I do believe it's because it's following the kind of a coattail of the Albarino. Rest of the Spanish whites were kind of fat and round, and then you had the Albarino pop and became really popular. And everybody's looking at like where else can you find some whites that are crispy and high acid and different from the rest, and then they found something in Rueda Verdejo. And that's probably how it became, or started to become really popular, became very popular in the last 10 years. And just like Albarino got abused. And there's a lot of this kind of commercial bottling that just pop up. Cool.
I mean, I would find this wine perfect for having, you know, at a lunch with lunch. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't turn them down an Albarino at lunchtime.
I love Albarino, especially the summertime. Great. I mean, but to Charles and Liz's point, there are some really cheap, it's fine. It's just kind of a cheap thrill. Like it's gonna be fine, but like nothing's gonna be like, oh my god, this is so good, you know. It's kind of like a Pinot Grigio. It's perfectly inoffensive, innocuous. You know, it's like that first date that you go on and just say, "How was the date?" And you go, "It was fine." You know, it's like you want to say either like I hated it or I loved it. You don't want to say it's fine. To me, there's a lot of fine Arborians. Cool. Any other questions? Comments? Cool. Hearing none, I'm going to stop the recording.